Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to LQ Interviews. Today, I have my very special guest, Mr. Neal Spellman of Darkflame Universe.
Hey everyone.
Glad you could be here. Now, firstly, for those who don't know, would you mind telling them what exactly Darkflame Universe is?
Yeah, so Darkflame Universe is a server emulator project for LEGO Universe. Back when it closed in 2012, a bunch of fans got together to make servers. There are a couple different groups out there, but Darkflame Universe, we got, I think, 4,200 followers right now on Twitter. So there's a lot of people interested in LU still.
Yes, there definitely are. I believe you're really the last of the major server emulations at this point, aren't you? Looney is not that big anymore.
Yeah, that one, no one works on that one anymore. There are a couple smaller groups out there right now, but for the most part, in terms of mainstream servers, we're kind of the biggest.
And you seem to have gotten a lot farther than a lot of these projects have.
Yeah, while most people over the past couple of years would work in public and show everyone, we worked in private. So any progress that we made, we didn't show people up until I think we started just at the beginning of this year. We started showing people and taking people into our testing.
Yes, your first alpha test started in January, didn't it?
Yep.
So, how's that been going so far?
Alpha 1 was a great time for us. We learned so much about how our server architecture worked under a load of people. We had 50 testers we took in for that. So that was a really good stress test. And from there, over the past couple of months, we rewrote our entire server to work better for that amount of people.
Nice. So, what is your server architecture for this? Do you host it yourself? Do you host it through a data center? Or.
Yeah, we pay for hosting right now
Okay,
for testing.
interesting. So, what made you decide to start this project? And when did you start
Well,
it?
we started, so officially our project started in 2013, but right after the game closed back in 2012, I met Darwin, who is the other founder of this project. And from there, we found Looney back when it was just starting up,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked with them for a bit. So we were on those original forums, we were talking, we were there for like the original discoveries of the packets and the original server emulators.
So that actually leads into my next question. What was the development process for this type of thing? Were you able to collect most of the resources needed from like leftover LEGO Universe code on people's computers? Or did you have to rebuild a lot of it from the ground up?
Well, see, we were very, very lucky because one of the people on that original forum recorded a bunch of packet data from when the game was live. A lot of
Mm.
people didn't do this. It's super important for figuring out how the server works, like what kind of communication goes on between the server and the client.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still do that with the client, like you can still send stuff and see what happens. But having old packets that are real and from the game it's huge. That's
Yeah,
how
I
the
can
original
imagine.
servers were made.
Yeah, I would have never thought about that back in the day when I was playing LEGO Universe. Like, gosh, I might want to capture the packets in case I need them someday.
Yeah, I never crossed my mind because I didn't think it was going to close so soon. But
Yeah.
here we are.
So, what is your final product going to look like in your eyes? I mean, your mind.
Well, I mean, so we got closed beta coming up after Alpha 2, which is going to be soon. But after closed beta, we're going to go to open beta and then live. The goal for live is we have everything from the original game done. So you play it just like the original.
What have you gotten done so far?
As per our alpha features, since we rewrote our server, we got Venture Explorer, the original tutorial world, and features. We got multiplayer, we got quick builds, we have modular building working, we have we just got a lot of the base features down right now. AI we're gonna show off in Alpha 2, which is all the enemies of AG.
Nice. So, what have you rebuilt, like, or at least started development on any of the other areas, like Nimbus Station or Gnarled Forest?
Well, see that stuff. When we talk about progress, it's not a per world basis. So say we finished
Yes.
AI in AG. that AI code that still works in Gnarled Forest. Of course, a little tweaking to get like the specific enemy variants, but if we have
Hmm.
multiplayer working with AG and we have missions working in AG, it works everywhere else.
All right, interesting.
So it's just a matter of we want to test, the first vertical slice of gameplay VE to AG.
So in the long run, do you hope to have like everything from the original game re-implemented, even like side quests and such?
Yep, that's the
Nice.
goal.
So is there anything? What's been the biggest challenge to like rebuild so far?
Definitely AI. That it's very painful.
Um, like, were there certain things that have just been totally missing and you haven't been able to find, like certain textures or anything?
Well, so in terms of like actual textures, and we never have to recreate any of the actual game, like the actual what the client sees. That is all there. We already have that from
All
when the
right.
game was live. But server architecture wise, we don't have a lot of what the original server used. They got to
Mm-hmm.
use a lot of nice things like Havoc, which is I don't think they license that out anymore, or if they do, it costs a lot of money. So for physics engines, we've had to build our own.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a giant hassle. I wish there was an easier way, but that's why development time takes so long.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an easier way, someone would have probably done it at this point. What has it been? 5-ish years since Lego Universe closed?
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
Wow, it honestly it feels like forever ago and yesterday.
Yeah, when we launched Alpha, we tried to time it with the 5 year mark, and still I was like, I can't believe it's been this long.
Yeah, it's really incredible. That I mean, I love the game. I played since their first closed beta and all the way through. Well, to the point it was announced it closed. I actually didn't play those last few months, sadly, just because I was too depressed about the closing.
Oh man, you should have been there. It was great.
I know I
The
should have been
GM,
there. It was. I wish I would have done the jetpacks and the hammers and everything.
yeah, they went all out for that last month.
Speaking of that, do you plan to implement any of those types of things into the final game? Stuff that wasn't really in the original game, but they started rolling out during those last few months?
So in terms of really unbalanced things like jetpacks or Uber hammers, those things, no, they're not going to be in there because they ruin the live experience. We want you to play it like you used to play it. I don't want someone in
Mm,
AG going through survival with an Uber hammer lasting 20 hours.
yeah. I remember that I heard that the dragon battles were a mess once they released those hammers.
Yeah, people would just sit there and one click and you had the kill.
So, will you be able to bring back up properties?
Yes, properties are coming back.
That'll be really fun. I look forward to seeing that because that was one of my favorite parts of Lego Universe. I would hang out on those so much.
Yeah, I think that's one of the favorite things people had from LU. We got a couple of the really famous builders on our forums. One of them, Flambridge, he was a Lego Universe partner towards the end. He made some crazy stuff on the game, but he's around and he's interested in it, so he might be building props again
Oh, that
soon.
would be awesome. Because I remember, like, what were some of the real. I remember Red Boy made some really popular properties that were always at the top of the list.
Yeah, and then Hollis too.
Yeah, Hollis.
He's
I
one
knew
of our
his.
testers right
Oh,
now.
Hollis is still around. That's cool. I spent a ton of time in his properties like Hollis Labs. And did Hollis do the haunted house?
Yeah, I think he did one.
Okay. Because I remember that too. That was a great property. And so much. Should we just be people role playing there all the time? I also remember the larger Advent Gardens property, which, darn, it's been so long I can't remember the name of it. There's this castle property, which people would always do these werewolf role plays on, which was a ton of fun.
Yeah, people made some crazy stuff on properties, so I can't wait to see what they do when we go live.
I still feel like Lego has not been able to match the system they got down there, which worked for the most part, besides some like weird clipping issues and certain points and issues with like the camera angles when you got in closed spaces really well. Like in the new game Lego Worlds, it gets close to that, but it doesn't have the nice user interface that Lego Universe had.
Yeah, Lego Worlds definitely suffers from the same UI issues that a lot of other Lego games suffer from. I think LU is really a step in the right direction for what it should be in the future, because LU still had problems.
Yeah, it definitely had a
But
lot of problems, but it was also still really usable.
and it felt really good to walk around the prop and be like, hey guys, this is my public property. I made this giant cool thing, and you
Hmm.
can sit here with me. We can play on it. We can spawn enemies.
Yeah, and what was great about Lego Universe properties too is you could program the properties, not just build, which there are not many games that allow you to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope that Lego Worlds one day adopts that kind of
I
system.
would hope so too, because it's still in active development and it could still use a lot of work.
It's definitely fun though.
Yeah, it's definitely
I
fun.
won't admit it's not a good. It's a good change from a lot of Lego games out there right
Yeah, it
now.
is. Like that was actually deals with one of my main issues with like what I think was an issue with Lego Universe at least was everything really should be made out of bricks in Lego games.
I mean, they really did the atmosphere pretty well
Yeah,
for
no, don't get
LU.
me wrong. I love the atmosphere. It's just it would have been cool to see everything made out of bricks too.
Well, so originally, back when LU first was pitched to Lego, they produced a full 100% Lego world. There was no other files. It was just all Lego bricks.
Yeah, I don't think I knew about that. The most I've really read about the history was what's written in the chapter in Brick by Brick, which was very interesting looking back because it talks a lot about why the original game closed.
Yeah, there's a ton of great resources about why the game met the unfortunate fate it did, but not many people have covered the whole development process and what changed. I'm working on a document that does that, which
Oh,
hopefully one
cool.
day should be published.
That'd be awesome to see. That'd be a really interesting read.
Yeah, I think it's an important perspective, to see where we came from to, DLU now.
So, will you be able to recreate stuff like the mini games, racing, and the Pirate Cove shooter?
Yes, all of those will be available.
And okay, let's see what else. We're kind of going out of order my question just from the way this has evolved, but so you said is Alpha 2 is your next step.
Yes.
When do you have any plans on when that's going to be a thing?
So I can't really offer any concrete dates right now, but it's looking to be in the next couple months, probably next 1 to 2. It's not concrete, but that's what it's
All right.
looking like.
So how do you have like deadlines for when you want to get certain stuff done pretty far out in the future, or do you go more like kind of step by step? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, sort of way.
We pick milestones. So like for Alpha 1, before we announced everything, we said, okay, these are all the things we want for Alpha 1. And then here's the date where we want to announce it by, which was January 1st. We want the announcement. So for there, we worked and we worked and we worked, and then we get to all the way to launching it, and we figure out, oh no, the server can't handle all these people.
Oh.
So we have to go back and we say, okay, we're going to have to go through each feature and say, what's wrong with it? Why doesn't it work for so many people? What's causing all the stress? So for each milestone, there's unexpected stuff, but we generally have the rough idea of what we want for each milestone and a general date.
All right, I won't ask what your like end date is for this point because that's just gonna jinx it.
It's far out, the total end date.
Yeah, I can imagine something like this is going to take years to finish. I mean, the original an MMO itself takes hundreds of people working on it. How many people do you have in your development staff?
In terms of actual developers, we have about 7.
All right, well, better than some. Certainly not anywhere near what MMOs are actually made with.
Yeah.
But
And it's tough because we're all students. A couple of us are college students, 2 of us are seniors at college, and a couple are even high school students. So we don't really have the free time that a developer, in their 30s
yeah, it's
would
not
have.
your job. I know how that is. Like with running this channel, it takes a lot of work to run a YouTube channel too, full time, along with doing school and extracurricular activities and having a life.
Yeah, I check my Twitter account for DLU every morning, every night. Whenever I find time in between classes, I respond to people.
Yeah, the Twitter's been kept really update, which is nice to see. Obviously the majority of people can't get into alpha, so it's nice to see, progress is being made. It keeps, the hype for the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. We really want to show people that, hey, we're still around. A lot of other groups really struggle with PR.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tweet every now and then, but we really want to encourage the community to participate and to see that, hey, we're still around and we still want to hear from you.
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation with Lego Universe, the community in general, because for the short time that game was around, there are so many dedicated fans out there still that want this.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. We hit over 5,000 registered people earlier this month.
Yep, I would be one of them.
And I just thank you so much for registering. Like, it means so much to our project to hear this.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know when you're making a project, especially a big one, a lot of times these things have to be self-motivated, but it really does help to actually see people's interest in them. Otherwise, you can get burnt out fast.
Yeah, that was a lot of the struggle for the 3 years we weren't public. Because in 2016, we started actually telling people about us. But before that, we weren't known by mainstream outlets. Like, a couple Discord servers talked about us, but
Mm-hmm.
we had nothing to show.
So, what did you expect the response to be when you first went public?
I mean, back in January, we expected maybe, 1,000 people, maybe. And
So,
then we got like 2,000, I think.
oh wow, that's nice to see your expectations are far exceed. I'm sure that was motivational.
Yes, it was crazy. We got covered by Massively Op and a couple other gaming websites. So I know I never expected to see my project on any website.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, good for you guys. I'm glad you're getting as much publicity as possible. I've been following this project since you went public and really looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Yeah, I can't wait to take more people in to test.
How much are you going to take more people in for Alpha 2?
So we haven't actually announced anything regarding that, but for this, we're actually ready to announce yes, we're going to be taking more people in for Alpha 2. No
That'll be
numbers to
cool to
share yet,
see. Yeah.
but we will be.
All right, something to look forward to. Speaking of that, if you're watching this interview out there and you're interested, please sign up on the site, Darkflame Universe. I'll leave a link in the description below.
It would mean a lot.
All right, so there are going to be some people out there wondering about the legality side of this, because this was talked about a lot when LEGO Universe private servers were first announced. Now, I already know the details about this. Could you explain it to the audience for any concerns they might have?
So what happened back when Looney was first coming up was a couple people hosted public servers. Lego contacted them with a legal notice saying, here's what you need to add for your website, just so that, they don't think it's run by Lego and that we have no tie to it. So generally, we've been following by that, and we've been trying to, stay away from infringing on the Lego brand. And that includes all our rules for our forums and game, where we're trying to keep it just like the live game. We have the same whitelist, we have the same kind of policy on what's family friendly and what isn't, because we want it to be a safe environment for kids.
And that's great, and it's also really great of LEGO to allow these kinds of projects to go on.
Yeah, it's been great because they could definitely close any project pretty quick if they really
They
wanted
could. That's
to.
what I was worrying about at first when people are first talking about these, because people have tried to recreate other games in the past, and a lot of them have ended in cease and desist.
Yeah, Lego did hand out a cease and desist back when the game first closed to someone who tried recreating it in a different game engine, I think.
Huh. Well, that was recreating it from the ground up in that case, though, wasn't it?
I think so,
So
yeah.
basically, they were creating a new game with the Lego brand attached to it.
Yeah.
That was
So
their
essentially, they
issue.
were using the same assets too, which we're not technically using any of the client assets for a website or anything. So we're not really going against any of that.
So yeah, you guys know what you're doing when keeping in Lego's good graces there.
Oh, yeah, that's been goal number one.
Because a lot of projects, like especially I come from the Bionicle community in a lot of ways, there have been fan projects which clearly went a little bit too far with how much they infringed on Lego's rights.
Yeah, we really don't want to start any trouble there. It's just better to keep a friendly relationship.
Definitely. So, you talked about open beta. Are you going to be taking donations or any sort to get yourself to the point where you can afford a server that can support that many players?
It's a really good question. For closed beta, we're gonna start taking donations because
All right.
we can't afford to host thousands of people
Yeah, I
on
can't
our own.
imagine. That's gonna be a pretty big bill. I mean, that's why MMOs are so expensive. That's why Lego Universe closed, basically, was because these are very big investments to keep up. And
Yeah, and it's definitely tricky for people who are all students who don't have full-time jobs,
mm-hmm.
and we can't charge for anything in the game. So we're counting on all the very loyal fans out there to help us make the game stay there this time.
When you finish your recreation of the game, do you plan on keeping the code to yourself exclusively, which is totally fine, of course, or do you plan on releasing it like Looney did for people to host their own private servers as well?
Right now, the goal is just to keep it like it was for live, which means we don't really want to encourage a community like Minecraft kind of thing, where
Mm.
everyone has their own server, because that takes away from the central community feel.
All
That,
right.
needless to say, that could change in the future, but I don't think it will.
All right. I mean, yeah, especially like this game, it would be interesting for a little bit. That's why I tried to start a Looney server once, like just for myself, which didn't end well.
It's not fun to set up.
No, it's not. But yeah, it's fun to walk around for a bit and see everything. But after that, you're gonna get bored after a while when it's like a private server.
Yeah, I could see the appeal of, hey, I want to play this game with my friends, but what if your friend isn't on? You just gonna play solo all the time, or
But yeah, that's really cool. Okay, what else have we got here? Do you ever plan on expanding beyond the content that was already released in the game, such as like bosses like Garmadon that were there and we saw pieces of them, but they're never fully completed?
so that's a little tough because things like Fire Temple, which had the Garmadon boss fight, and what was it? The Kingdoms World.
Mm-hmm.
Those two, we can't add them because we don't have them.
All right.
But we do plan on adding our own original new content to the game.
Oh, okay. That was actually one of my questions. That's interesting. Do you plan on going your own direction with that, or are you going sort of like what the plans for Lego Universe expanding would be?
So for some of it, we plan to go with. We found a couple like original maps that were never in the game or were in beta. Like there was an original property in Nimbus Station called Cul-de-sac. It was
Yes, I
this really,
recall
really
that.
cute property, and we have that. We can add it back in, and
Oh,
then we
nice.
have
So you have that all
Spider
of
Cave.
that.
Yeah, we have
Oh, awesome.
beta maps we can add in. We even have an unreleased one called Spider Cave, which was for the original Spider Boss fight. That's where it was going to be this big mini game where you go down and you hunt the Spider Boss.
Oh, that's cool. So that was like that one would never have been intended for release, I guess, because we did originally get the Spider Queen boss fight.
Yeah, she was what they reworked the Spider Cave to be.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot we plan to do and a lot of cool things still in the game that we can use that aren't really, we don't have Fire Temple, but we have old stuff.
Yeah, though it is interesting that why couldn't you get Fire Temple? Were those codes never in the game? Because I've seen people have footage from the Garmadon boss battle on YouTube.
Though that footage was from like Lego Universe developers who worked on it,
Okay.
so we can't, they signed NDAs, we can't get anything.
All right, I hadn't
I
realized that
wish.
actually, but
Yeah, the boss fight there, it never made it to everyone's game client, only for developers.
now there was another boss battle I recall being unreleased. What was it though? Uh,
Thinking maybe of the Mithrin Temple on Crooks Prime.
that may have been it. Yes. Like so much is flooding back to me now that I didn't remember to write down the questions.
That's fine.
But yeah, also there were certain things like can you rebuild the Mithrin stuff that was above Nimbus Station and everything?
Technically, we could have the same kind of spawn parties that Mithrins did.
Oh, that's nice. So do you have the ability to make a player basically a Mithrin in the game? Like appears them
Yes.
and everything?
We can make a player look like a Mithrin. We can add them to have a GM tag in front of their name. We can have them spawn things.
Oh, that's really awesome. That's like something people would have never been able to do in the real game. Now, a few lucky people who played once will be able to wield that power.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it. It's just going to be staff only because
Yeah,
it would be
totally.
crazy.
Yeah, a bunch of Mithrans running around and the game would not
Yeah, I would
serve
really
it
prefer
well.
not to have people spawn giant dragons on Venture Explorer all the time. That would be very bad.
Mithran Party was actually something I never did experience myself in the original LEGO universe.
They were crazy, you would have some guy spawn a moon buggy and then like 16 dragons all around Nimbus Station.
Yeah, I heard many stories. My thing in LEGO Universe was I was never into grinding as much as I was in like the social aspect of it. I would like play games on the street with my dice, and I loved that tool, the dice. You could do so much with it.
They had so much crazy stuff to do. You could just go to Gnarled Forest and spin the tiki torches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, why is this in an MMO? I'm struggling here, but they got a lot of weird features that you wouldn't see in a normal game.
And yeah, and the greatest part was too, the community for LEGO Universe is just amazing. Like people would make their own ways of having fun, which is very Lego centric in a way.
Yeah, I think even just like going back to Nimbus Station and a normal day where you see people trying to advertise, hey, I'm selling this thing for 3,000 coins.
Oh
They
yeah,
butcher the
our own
words.
number system because we couldn't use them, but it never stopped us.
Yep. People found creative ways around it.
I'm surprised that it never got blocked. That's something that MMOs have been struggling with forever, though, is actually how to do a proper chat censor. Speaking of that,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just, we're keeping it like that because it's so funny to go back and see the same thing. And at this point, I feel like it would be doing LEGO Universe wrong to not see 3,000 coins or some weird butcher of a word.
So speaking of that, though, will you ever consider re-implementing the best friends feature where you do have free messaging between two players?
Further down the line, yeah, that would be a good thing to have.
All
Probably
right,
not in like closed beta or anything because that's not a huge feature.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the future, I would like to have that.
Cool, because that was definitely useful for, the people you actually knew on LEGO Universe. Being able to tell them stuff without having to code it first.
Yeah, you didn't have to be like, okay, I gotta rewrite my message because this word just got denied.
Yeah. I mean, LEGO Universe did have a better filter than most games, though, because I remember, like, Club Penguin, I played that a lot, too, back in the day. They wouldn't tell you if something you said didn't show up, you just had to hope.
Yeah, I really like how LEGO they put the little red filter over it, and we're like, this isn't okay, just pick a different word.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, we talked about mini-games already, but what about the battle survival games? Are those coming back too? I mean, the way this has been going, I assume so. Back. But, man, would I love to play Battle of Nimbus Station again.
All of those will be coming back.
Cool. That's really cool. Alright, I think that's the majority of my questions, actually. We got through those pretty fast, but is there anything else you'd like to tell people about the project that they might not know or be interested in?
I mean, barring the announcement we made about Alpha 2 and that we're going to take more testers in, I think that's pretty much it. We have a great website, forums on there. If you have any questions, you can DM our Twitter. You can even DM just my personal Twitter account if you really have a question that you don't want to ask on there. We're always open to hearing from fans.
And I will provide links to all of that in the description below for this video. Like I said, even if you weren't an original LEGO Universe fan, this would be a great opportunity to check out the game that we've all been talking about for years.
And soon you'll have another chance to get into our testing.
Yep. So yeah, definitely, if you're going to be drawing some new people for Alpha 2, now is the time to sign up. Alright, well, thank you very much for listening to this interview, and thank you very much, Neal, for being on here. It was great to talk to you. I've really wanted to do this for a long time. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of what you're doing out there.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. I'd be up for any other time.
Sure. I mean, as the project develops, we might have more questions. We might have you on again for something. So, once again, make sure to follow their Twitter, check out their website and their forums, and keep up with this project, because I'd really love to see it go on and get as much support as it can. Once again, I am LQ, and thank you for listening to LQ Interviews.